Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you everyone for coming today. So it's the 10th anniversary of the War on Terror, or as Borat more aptly coined it, the War of Terror. The tragic deaths of 2,996 people on September 11th have been more than paid for 10 times over by 30,000 other lives in Afghanistan. The War on Terror has cost $3.7 trillion. The question today for all of us is what now? What has the War on Terror achieved except for more war and more terror? We were given various reasons for why we are in Afghanistan, why we invaded. We were told it was because it was to eliminate Al-Qaeda, to make our streets in Britain safer. We were told it was to create a functioning Afghan state. We were told it was to bring stability to Afghanistan. We were told it was to eliminate the Taliban and improve conditions for women. I'd like to just give you a few facts about Afghanistan now, today, after 10 years of intervention and after trillions of dollars. On stability, the level of violence is rising, not falling. The number of soldiers killed was an all-time high last year. 711 soldiers killed, more than any other year since the invasion. The number of civilians being killed is also rising, up 15% this year. 2,700 innocent civilians killed last year. And what's more, Afghanistan's nuclear-armed neighbour, Pakistan, has been badly destabilised by the War on Terror. It now boasts its own Taliban. Before 2002, there was no Pakistani Taliban. Suicide attacks were virtually unheard of. Since 2002, 35,000 Pakistanis have died as a result of terror-related incidents. Last year alone, there were 300 suicide attacks in Pakistan. There comes a moment where you have to ask, what is more dangerous, terrorism or counter-terrorism? And as for a functioning Afghan state, opium production is up now 150%. It accounts for 90% of the heroin on our streets. Afghanistan today is at the bottom of the UN Index on Development. It has the highest infant mortality rate in the entire world. Karzai's government is considered the second most corrupt government in the world, according to Transparency International Corruption Index. Apparently, according to Simon Jenkins in The Guardian yesterday, $2 million leaves Kabul airport every day to go and buy illegally a property in Dubai. Everyone knows that Karzai's government is only stable for as long as NATO troops are in place to protect it. We all know that the minute NATO pulls out, Karzai will be house hunting in Marble Arch for a pad near his old neighbour and friend General Musharraf. And on the question of making Britain's streets safer, the argument is that we're fighting them there so we don't have to fight them here. But fighting the Taliban in Helmand did not protect commuters at Aldgate or King's Cross on July the 7th. In fact, our homegrown 7-7 bomber cited the Afghan occupation as motivation for the attacks. It also failed to stop the 2004 Al-Qaeda attack in Madrid or the attempted attack on Times Square, New York. Al-Qaeda Osama may have left Afghanistan, but it has safe havens all over the world. Osama may be dead, but his special brand of jihadism lives on. And the continued NATO presence in Afghanistan bolsters the very forces it aims to defeat. It reaffirms the jihadist narrative that militants are fighting a holy war against foreign occupation and local stooges. And on the Taliban and conditions for women, the Taliban is already effectively in control of 2/3 of the country. They're already, after America fighting them for 10 years, America's now engaging them politically. Afghanistan's still the worst place in the world for a woman to live. 87% of women are subjected to domestic abuse. Cases registered with the Human Rights Commission have gone up by 50%. So by any standards, our mission in Afghanistan has failed. We hear, people always say that those of us here who oppose the continued war in Afghanistan are unpatriotic, that we don't support our troops. But surely the way to support our troops is to keep them out of harm's way. Already 307 British soldiers lives have been lost. So why won't we? When 60% of the British public now are against the Afghan war continuing. When a young John Kerry returned from Vietnam, he asked Congress, how do you ask a man to be the last man to die for a mistake? It's a question that our batch of pro-war politicians ought to ask themselves every single day. There will never be a right time to leave. The war in Afghanistan will be concluded on the very same terms it could have been concluded 10 long bloody years ago, trillions of dollars ago, thousands of lives ago. The real reason we won't pull out is guilt. Guilt prolongs a doomed mission. Our politicians are too afraid of having their favourite, oft-used phrase refuted. They did not die in vain. Isn't the painful truth that they did, and they will continue to do so until this war is brought to an end?